Hey everyone, this is a quick review about a movie website I just did, offering movie trailers and movie reviews. The main goal of this project is to practice, as I'm working on a bigger project right now, so it's a full stack project. The project tech stack is MongoDB as database, React and CSS as the front-end part, and the backend I'm implementing API using SpringBoot. So firstly, when the user enters this website, you will see this nice carousel that move every 4 seconds and stopped when the user hovers on it. And in each carousel items, you can see here on the left a poster photo, a background photo, title, and 2 action buttons. All this information is being fetched from the database. Let's see a quick peek on the database. It's a MongoDB database which have 2 tables. We have the movies and we have the reviews. Back to the carousel component. These 2 action buttons is also the URL is also being fetched from the database, built with fetched information. When you click on the view trailer on the play button, you will see that in the URL there will be the YouTube video ID as param in the URL, which will be used in order to play the specific YouTube video. Let's watch it.
We are gathered here today to say goodbye to Puss in Boots. Puss in Boots, you are down to your last life. You need to retire.
And also the user will have option to add a review. As well, the URL is being built by the specific movie the user clicked. And here you can see the movie ID, which will be used as a param in order to fetch information from the API and get information about the specific movie. And this is the way I'm showing this specific photo. Also here you can see the reviews component, and on the right you can see the review form component. Here you can see you can add a specific review like good movie, and you can click submit. Click and submit will send a post request using the API in order to add this specific review and attach it to the specific movie that I'm on right now. Also, the user can see here in the top navigation bar, you can see a nice icon and can see the homepage, a watch list, about, and also you can log in and register to the website. And here I put a log to show you the information that being fetched from the database as we load this specific component, the home component, which uses the carousel component. You can see here all the movies that are being fetched from the MongoDB database here. And this is the basic stuff you can do with this project, and the next video I will dive into the code and explain how it was implemented. So how did I implement it? So we have 3 main ingredients. We have the backend API, which is responsible on fetching information from the database and updating information at the database and creating information at the database. We have the database, which is MongoDB database, that's containing movies and the reviews. And we have the front end, which is React, which is responsible on rendering the component and showing the user the UI. Let's start with the backend. So earlier I showed this nice project, and let's talk about the API called I need in order to create this. So first we have the carousel, which show all the movies and information on each movies right here. So I need to fetch all the movies information from the database. Here, as I show in this log, I need to get all this information. Also, in order to, for example, get a specific photo for a specific review, I will need to fetch information from the movies table for a specific movie. So request information of specific movie with a specific movie ID. This is what I'm doing here. So this is the second API call that I will need. And the third one is, in order to create a review, I need a post request in order to create new review and attach it to the specific movie. So this is the third API call that I will need. So let's see how it was implemented using SpringBoot. So first, let's start with the application properties. Okay, so this is the way I'm connected to the MongoDB database. As you can see, all the information like user and password is being encrypted as it's in the env file. And you can see the env file example, not the real file, the example, and this is how it's being stored, and this is how it's being used. There is the real env here, which is on git ignore, so I will not commit it. And this is how I connect to the MongoDB database. About the structures of this project, so you can see that I have two folders. One is movies and the other one is reviews. In each one you can see the main entity, and in MongoDB we call it a document. A document for movies. You can see that I have all the information that it's being stored by the database. You can see the collection, which is like the table that this document is presenting. You can see here data, which I'm using lowmork in order to save myself all the getter and settings and stuff. Also constructor with all args, no args. And this is the movie entity basically. We have the controller, which is responsible of the API request that comes from API/v1 movies. We have two options. We have the show all and we have get information on specific movie by the movie ID. So let's start with the auto-wired. I'm auto-wiring the movie service. Auto-wiring is a way for me to, instead of using tightly coupled, to use loosely couples, which means instead of me in this movie controller create a new movie service, I'm giving the responsibility to the Spring container to create this one for me. And as I need it here, I will be able to get it using auto-wired. So instead of me creating a new instance when I need it, a new movie instance, I can ask for the single instance that being automatically created in the SpringBoot, in the Spring container. I can request it. And about the request, so we have a get request to show all, how it's actually working. What I'm going to do, I'm going to firstly return a response entity with the movies that I'm going to get and with the response status. Okay, where do I get the movies? From the service. So let's go to the service, and the service is getting the movie repository by dependency injector as well. You can see that it have the service annotation, which means it's a component also. And you can see here the get all movies. It's using the movie repository and using the find all. Let's see the movie repository. The movie repository is the extend the MongoDB repository. In order to fetch all, there's no need to implement nothing. It's already automatically. So this is the way the user will get all the movies. And we also have the get a specific movie information by specific movie ID. The same stuff, just here I'm using a path variable in order to get a specific movie ID from the request. Again, I'm calling the service, which is auto-wired, and asking the repository to find a specific movie. Here I need to implement just the title of the function to find a specific movie. The MongoDB repository know that I'm looking to find a specific movie, which is the document, by a specific item which is in the document, in the entity. And this is how the movie controller works. The controller is talking to the service, which is talking the repository. Same stuff with the review. You can see here the document. You can see here the repository. Here the repository is doing post requests in order to create. So what I'm doing is I'm creating a new review by getting information from the review body. I'm getting the review body and getting the movie. I'm getting the body, which means the text that the user wants to use as a review, and the movie ID, which says to which movie the review will be attached to. And what I'm doing here is I'm creating an update movie. I'm updating the movie with the review that just being created using the Mongo template. And this is basically the API stuff that I'm using in the project. So we have 3 API calls. We have get all the movies, we have get a specific movie by ID, and we have the create review and attach it to specific movie. So this is the backend part of the project. It's very, very simple, and that's it. The last part I talked about the backend part, which is implementing SpringBoot API. The main goal of the backend was to fetch information from the database. We have 2 endpoints. We have one in order to fetch all the information from the database, which is movies, and the other one fetch a specific movie. And we also have a post request in order to create new review and attach it to specific movie. So this was the backend part. Right now we're going to talk about how I implemented the frontend part, which I'm not quite good at it yet, but I'm learning. The frontend part was developed in the React. All the site that you see right now is full with components, and I will talk about which components I've used. Some of them I implemented, some of them is external component that I've used, imported. And let's talk about components. So here we have the header component, we have the app component, which is all. We have the home component, which is here at the bottom, which contain the heroes component that is in charge of the carousel component, which is showing you this nice carousel. Also, we have the trailer component, which this way I present the video. We also have the reviews component, which showing you this reviews page, and we also have the review form component, which is in charge of the form review component, the form review. And I think this is all the component. Let's dive into the code and explain how it was implemented. So let's start with the index.js, so you can see where I'm rendering the app, okay? And I'm using Axios config in order to set my base URL, okay? So let's show the index, the .js. Here you can see that I'm rendering the app component. And in the app component, you can see that basically I'm using a use state, use effect, use params, hooks. You can see here, this is the app component. And you can see when this application loads, first what I'm doing is I'm using this function called getMovies, which basically is requesting from the API to get all the movies, and after I have the movies, I'm using the setMovies in order to set a state for movies in order to show it in the carousel, for example. So when the page loaded, this function first started using the use effect. I also have a similar function in order to get a specific movie information. I use it in the review page, for example, in order to get a specific photo for a specific movie the user asked to add review to. And also the app is in charge of the routing. You can see here a specific path and what component will be rendered. You can see that if the user path is this one, it will render the home, okay? If the path is a trailer, you can see that it will render trailer. And if the path is review, will render review. I'm going to talk about each component separately. And first I want to talk about the header component, okay? That the header component is responsible of the navigation bar, this one. And here you can see that I'm using the navbar component. And what I'm showing here is the small menu that I just showed, and also the login and register buttons. And the icon. That's it, very simple. And here you can see that I'm rendering the home, okay? When the user first entered the website, he will see the home, this page. Is rendering the home, and you can see that it's transferring a specific param, which is movies, and movies is the one that I'm using use state, okay? And when the page loaded, I'm using the get movies to get all the movies using the API. And it can be nothing, it can be full with movies, and this information is passed to the home. You can see this information is passed to heroes, to hero component, and here I'm presenting it.